What's wrong with her arm? Looks like she wrestled a lawnmower. The comment wasn't subtle. It came from a young guy in uniform, barely old enough to shave, sitting at the corner booth of a small-town diner with his buddy, both of them in matching fatigues. His voice carried across the room, followed by the kind of laugh that makes your skin crawl, low, smug, cruel. The waitress, a woman in her late 20s with sharp eyes and sleeves rolled up, didn't flinch as she poured their coffee. The scars on her arms were jagged and discolored, faded over time, but impossible to ignore. They wrapped around her forearms like reminders of something no one else could understand. The second guy snickered, nudging his friend and muttering something about burn victims. She didn't respond. Not with words. Not even a glance. She just walked away with the same quiet grace, head held high, back straight as steel. In the corner booth, an older man set down his fork. His uniform wasn't new. The creases were worn from time, the medals weren't flashy, they were earned. He wore his silver hair cropped close, his posture still sharp. A retired Marine. He'd been watching from the moment they walked in, saw the boys laugh, saw the waitress's arms, and then he saw it. Just beneath the deepest scar, partially hidden and faded beneath burn tissue, was ink. A tattoo. But not just any tattoo. A unit insignia. His unit. 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines. His blood ran cold. That symbol wasn't given lightly. He stood up. The diner grew quiet. He didn't walk toward the boys, not at first. He walked to the counter. The waitress looked up, tired but composed. He nodded at her forearm. "You served," he said, voice low but steady. Her eyes widened for just a second and then softened. "Helmand Province," she replied. 2011. He nodded again, this time slower. "Sangin?" he asked. She gave the smallest nod. Her sleeve rose slightly, just enough to reveal a date inked in beneath the symbol, October 18th. The day the gates exploded, the day 12 Marines died, the day she almost did. The boys had stopped laughing. One of them scoffed, trying to regain some swagger. No way she was in Afghanistan. Look at her. But now the veteran turned. Slowly, calmly, and the silence that followed was thicker than smoke. He pointed at her arm. "Those scars," he said, "aren't from some accident. They're from dragging 2 wounded Marines out of a burning vehicle after the second blast hit." She didn't wait for orders. She didn't freeze. She moved. And because of her, those 2 men are alive today. The younger men looked down, eyes suddenly heavy. The vet continued, voice unwavering. She was 22, and she didn't do it for medals. She doesn't wear sleeves to hide shame. She wears them because remembering hurts more than the fire ever did. The boys mumbled, but he cut them off. "You laughed because you saw damage. I saw survival. You saw scars. I saw service. The difference between you and her isn't rank. It's respect." The waitress remained quiet, eyes focused ahead. Then, almost gently, she spoke. "I've been called a lot of things. Ugly, broken, liar. But the truth is I'm still standing. And if that bothers you more than the fact I served beside people braver than you'll ever be, that's not my problem." Then she picked up the coffee pot and continued her shift like nothing happened. But everything had. Someone in the diner had recorded it. Within hours, it was online. Within a day, millions had watched. The video was titled, "They Laughed at Her Scars Until a Marine Stood Up." Comments flooded in. Veterans from every branch shared their own burn marks, their own stories of people who were never welcomed home like they should have been. One mother wrote, "My son was one of the 2 she saved. We never knew her name. Now we do." The diner changed after that. The waitress, Emily Reeves, was no longer anonymous. Her photo went up next to the register, a younger version of her in full combat gear, arms bandaged, eyes fierce. No one mocked her again. New recruits came in quieter, more respectful, and whenever they reached for their coffee, they did it with a little more humility. Emily never gave interviews. She didn't need to. Her silence spoke louder than anything they could write. That tattoo on her arm wasn't ink. It was memory, pain, loyalty, the scars. They weren't there to remind the world what happened to her. They were there to remind the world what she survived for. So the next time someone thinks a scar is a punchline, they should remember some wounds are earned by saving lives, and some heroes wear aprons and serve coffee long after the battlefield. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment where are you watching from. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below. Because sometimes the strongest people aren't the loudest in the room. They're the ones who've already walked through fire and kept going.